Hello. Okay, we're gonna do a little painting that is so cute. It's so cute and it's really easy and quick and it comes together just like faster than you would believe. We are gonna get started. Here's what you need. I'm gonna use my 24 color essential palette. If you don't have this exact palette, don't worry, any watercolors will do. I'm gonna have two brushes on hand. These are both round brushes. There's a size 6 and a size 8. I'm gonna use the size 6 for the little tiny details, and the size 8 I will probably use to do the background. I'm also gonna draw the eyes on with a pen, so any kind of little small fine liner pen will work. This is a 0.8. I'm gonna tape off my paper, and my paper is in a sketchbook. I'm gonna use a sketchbook. But I did this originally on a postcard and it was so cute. You could totally make a card out of this. And the final thing is we're gonna splatter on some snow with some Dr. Martin's bleed proof white. This is white gouache, and this will just get it'll just add a little something. If you don't have this, you could use a white paint pen or a white gel pen, or you could just skip it. Let's paint. This is what we're painting today, this cute little penguin. I did this on a postcard that I was testing, but I want to do it in a sketchbook this time because I really love him and I have some other winter animals in this sketchbook. So we're gonna do it in the book. And since I did the little background, I want to go ahead and tape off my edges. So if you have some tape, go ahead and do that. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and sketch this out first. So just to show you the shape is so simple. We're just gonna do a little sort of half circle for his head, and then we'll bring the nice little chubby body down here all the way to the bottom of the paper. So however tall you want your penguin to be, we're just gonna make the little rounded head, and then it's gonna come down like this, and I'm gonna leave a little bit of space. We're gonna put a scarf on him, and then his body is just gonna come down like this. So a little bit wider than the head. Just like that. And then he's gonna have like two little wings on either side, and we'll put his little feet in. I don't think we really need to draw that in. And then for the scarf, it's just going to be a line that comes all the way across. This is actually looking like it could be like a two section snowman, two, if not a penguin. And then it's going to come over here, and then we'll just have it come down in the front, and maybe we'll have it swoop. We'll have it swoop off to the side here. And I'm gonna have the sides come in just a little bit there. All right, now the other thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna draw in where I want the mouth to be. We're gonna put his beak right here in the middle of his face. So it's just like a line with a lump in the center on the top, and then same thing on the bottom. Just like that. So then his eyes are going to be up here, and he's going to look super happy and cute. Okay, so I think this looks good. We're off to a good start. I told you this is so easy. So I'm going to go ahead and spray my paints, and I'm going to use Payne's Gray for the penguin instead of black. And the reason that I do that is because Payne's Gray has a lot of blue in it. It's a little bit more subtle than like a straight black. Sometimes straight black out of the pan can feel a little flat. So I just prefer Payne's Gray. When I was painting in oil, we weren't allowed to use black. We had to mix our own black. And that is a thing that a lot of artists do, is they don't like to use black straight out of the pan or out of the tube or whatever you're using. So now that I'm about to do this, I'm changing my mind on the brush. I'm not going to use the 8. I'm not going to use the 8 on on his beak. I'm gonna switch to the 6. I think the 6 is gonna allow me to have better control. It's a little bit easier to manage. So I'm just gonna outline my line here. So I'm just gonna come down and then I'm gonna go back up and back down on this side. I think I need a little bit more paint. And then I'm gonna bring this color, I'm gonna bring it down right here down to the beak and then go back up. And that's gonna give us that cute little penguin face shape. And my lines are not so straight. It's fine. It is totally fine. You can kind of refine the shape up here if your little arches aren't exactly the way that you want them. Just make them come down a little bit further. And then I'm gonna bring this line down here right up to the scarf. Just like that. If it's not saturated enough for you, just add a little bit more paint to your brush and go back and add a little bit more in while it's still wet. And then the next thing I'm gonna do are the wings. So I'm gonna hold the brush like this, sort of at an angle. I'm gonna let the brush do the work. So I just want his little wings to come down here on the side. So I'm just gonna kind of pull up, right up to where that scarf is. And there's one wing, and then I'm gonna dip back into the paint. And I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. I dipped back into my Payne's Gray again, and now I'm just gonna come all the way down here. I don't wanna go all the way over because I want him to have little feet. So I'm just gonna put a little bit like right here in the center and then back over on this side. And then that leaves room for us to paint his feet in right there. Just gonna bring this one down just a little bit more. All right, I mean, it's already like, it's just so cute. It's just so cute. Okay, so at this point, if we try to paint in the scarf or paint in his beak or his little feet, it's gonna run together with the Payne's Gray. So we wanna let this dry and then we'll come back and we'll add those details. Okay, the Payne's Gray is all dry, and before I do his beak and his little feet, I'm just gonna take a little bit of the pencil off because it is gonna be pretty light. The paint is gonna be pretty light, and I don't really wanna see those pencil marks. So I just lifted a little bit of that off. So I'm gonna use this mid yellow. So it's kind of like a, it's kind of like an orangey yellow. You could use whatever yellowy orange, or if you wanted to do a black beak, you could do that. And then I'm just gonna follow my little lines that I've drawn, and I'm just gonna fill it in. Super simple. And then for his feet, I just do like little M shapes, I guess you would call it. There's one, 3 little bumps. All right, there's his little feet. The other thing I want to do is I want him to have like little pink cheeks. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of my cherry red, and it's pretty saturated. So I'm just putting a little bit off to the side and adding some water to it so that I can thin it down a little bit. And then we just do circles. And for the scarf, I want the scarf to be like a icy blue-green, maybe a little bit. So I'm gonna do, let's see, I'm gonna grab some of my indigo, and I'm gonna add just a little bit of my lake green to make like a sort of blue-green color. And then I don't want it to be super saturated, so I'm just adding a little bit of water. And then I'm just gonna fill in my scarf with this. And I'm not getting fancy. I'm not doing anything fancy here. We're just filling in the scarf. And I'm going to fill in this one, this side. And then I want to add the little fringe on the end of the scarf. Just using the tip of the brush, we're just going to make little tiny lines. All right. That is all there is to that. So now I want to let this dry again before I do the background or I try to draw in the eyes, because I will definitely make it all run, or I'll draw, like if I try to draw those eyes on right now, I'm going to put my hand in it 100%. So we're going to let this dry and then we'll come back. Now that he's dry, we can go ahead and we can add in the eyes, and you could do just like little dots. I like the little happy eyes, like the little, like that. And then I just want to give him some like little eyelashes because it's so cute. I just think penguins, they just exude happiness to me, and that's what those eyes give to me. So that's how I chose to do them. You definitely do not have to do it that way if you don't want to. Actually, I think I'm going to thicken them up a little bit. I think they're a little bit thin. Okay, so now I want to put in the like snowy background, okay? And the way that I like to do this, the way that I think is easiest, I'm gonna switch to my size 8 brush. And actually, let's erase some of these pencil lines real quick, just so that we don't go over them with the background color. So I think the way that's easiest to do the background and to get this sort of like snowy effect is to create a puddle that's like pretty saturated. So I just made a little puddle of indigo, and now I'm gonna outline the penguin. So when I do this, I do try to work kind of quickly, because the quicker you work, the less of a line you'll have when you do this. But I also don't try to get like right up to the line. I get close to the line, but I leave a little bit of white space. Now we're gonna like zoom it in there, and we're gonna get close in a minute, but for right now, we don't have to try to be right up on top of that line. And I want the paint, I want this to be pretty saturated. And I'm just, oh, I got a drip. That's okay, we'll fix it. We're just gonna go all the way around the penguin with this line. So again, like I said, working pretty quickly. I'm even gonna come down here. I'm gonna grab a little paper towel and I'm just going to get that drip. I can go back over that with the Payne's Gray to cover that up if I need to, but I think it's fine. So we've got this really saturated line of color going all the way around our penguin. And now we're gonna just get water on our brush and we're just gonna let the water touch that line and sort of spread the paint out. So this is why I say like it's best to try to work kind of quickly, because the faster you work, the more easily that paint will spread and you won't end up with like a harsh line. So we go all the way around the penguin. This is why we taped it, right? And it's fine if it's really wet and it's puddling, it's pooling, that's okay. Now I go around and I sort of tighten in that line. I get closer to the penguin with my line. Now I feel like I've got some time to be more careful and I'm not trying to like hurry up and get it done so that I can avoid that harsh line that I was talking about. So now when I have a little bit more time to go around carefully, I narrow that in. And you might have to turn your book or your paper or whatever it is that you're working on to get a better angle for your hand. Just do whatever is comfortable for you. There we go. So now our line is nice and close, and I'm gonna go back to my paint and I'm just gonna add some more paint in here at the bottom. And I might add some more water. So the idea is that we're gonna get this nice, snowy, like cold looking background effect. I went over a little bit too far there. It's all right. So you can add more paint in as much as you want. You could try to make it look all like uniform and all one color if you wanted to. If you wanted to try to make like a smooth background, you could do that. You can do whatever you want in your painting. I just happen to like this technique for making it sort of look cold and look snowy. And then once you get it where you're happy with it, you just let it dry. Let it dry before you do anything else. Now for the snow effect, we're just gonna get some of this Dr. Martin's bleed proof white, and we just get a little bit of water on our brush, dip our brush in there, and then we just tap. Now for me, I don't mind if this gets on the penguin a little bit because it looks like he's in the snow, right? If you don't want it on your penguin, you can just get a little piece of paper and sort of cut it to this shape so that it doesn't, and lay it on top before you splatter, and then it won't get on the penguin. That is really all there is to this guy. If you wanted to, you could go in with some colored pencil and like add some stripes onto the scarf, or you could do it with watercolor if you wanted to. But I think he looks pretty cute, just very simply like this. I think he's so cute. And there's something about the way I positioned the beak and the eyes where I feel like he's like looking up. I don't know. The winter animals are just really, really sweet. I hope you had fun with this one.